Thank you all for taking the trouble to come here this evening. As Ellen says, this project has been a long time in the making, nearly 3 years, and we've now finally got it to where we want it to be, and we're very proud of what we've done. Right. Basically, for the last 7 years, I've spent my life trying to solve a problem. And the problem is that, having had 23 years in the private medical insurance business, I came to realise that with only 6% of the population that can afford private medical insurance, what happens to the other 94% of the population? Because the market as it currently exists does nothing to cater for those people. 94% of the population. So the market's never really been in a position in the 23 years that I've been involved in it to really offer this set 94% of the population something to buy in the event of them falling ill, something that's relevant, something that's affordable. And I've had my own little dashes with hospitals in the last few years. I had a heart attack in 2010, which was apparently caused by a virus from being bitten by a fly in India, nothing to do with my outrageous personal habits. The guy that sorted it out for me was a guy from tropical medicine, and he gave me this potion, and I came out of that hospital like a spring lamb. But I'd always had, when my son was born, I thought, well, you know, given that I smoke and drink and stuff, I better buy myself a critical illness policy. So I got a £500,000 payout from Aviva, which was very kind of them. But they had £60,000 in premiums, so I thought it wasn't a bad bet. So I had this money, and I thought, I've really worked it out now, because what I could never understand about private medical insurance is how the insurers price a risk. So I spent 15 years working for either Norwich Union or Western Provident Association. I could never understand how you send in a quote to an insurer and you can come back with a different myriad of pricing. I could never understand how they priced risk at all. I think it's one of the great mysteries. But then in 2008, at Perfect Health Insurance Services, we won 2 fairly substantial accounts in Summerfield Supermarkets and Virgin Atlantic. Yippee, we thought. But you don't earn any money because the fees are so tight, because they don't actually buy insurance. All they do is they know what their claims fund is going to be, and then they pay an insurer to administer their claims, say 7 or 8% of the claims fund. So like on Virgin, for example, the claims fund, when we started off with them, was like 2.7 million, and the fee was like 8% for the insurer just to pay all these claims. So I realised at that point that actually in a large population, and if you remove the unlimited liability element which exists in private medical insurance, if you cap liabilities, you can bring the premiums crashing down because private medical insurance is offering unlimited liability. To put that into context, last year when I had my second episode with my heart, that claim was £135,000. And in 5 years' time, they're going to have to put another box in my chest, and that's going to cost another £60,000. So guess what? I'm not cancelling my £80 a month direct debit to Bupa. So there you go. I've got this pile of money. I'm not very well. The diagnosis is severe heart failure, and I chuck the whole bloody lot at this. My whole family think I've gone bonkers, but I don't really think I have. So move on. Armed with this knowledge that you can offer a range of products which are relevant, affordable, and will be of real benefit to the recipients in the event of a claim, is really a call of conscience. I just could not do this project. Could not do this project. Move on. I'll just show you a little film about the NHS. The numbers are absolutely frightening. The numbers are frightening. 27,000 people a month being diagnosed with cancer, 11,500 strokes, 7,000 heart attacks, 5,000 further cardiothoracic operations, 30,000 cataract operations, 5,500 hips, 8,000 hernia repairs. This is month after month after month after month after month after month. There is massive demand out there for simple, affordable protection products. Okay, Ellen? And we're the only country in Europe that does it the way we do. Nobody, believe it or not, has ever copied our system, ever. So we have continued constrained government spending, we have unlimited demand, and there is a limited supply. Our government can no longer continue to fund the NHS in the manner that it has done for the last 5 years. The NHS has been asked to make cuts of £20 billion. But what happens is there's a tidal wave of obesity claims 6, 7, 8, 9 years down the track. Geriatric care. You know, the system's in a mess now, but where are the politicians? You know, there is an absolute 99.999999% certainty that no politician will ever have the courage to say, actually, the system that we designed in 1948, when Stalin was still in power, purging his people, and medicine was awful, and the population in the United Kingdom was riven with TB and smallpox, they're never going to change it. So we feel that this is exactly the right time to launch a set of products that are for the man in the street. So how do we do things at the moment? And this is a report from the World Health Organization. And by the first column is the spending by the state, the percentage of public funding and country. We come top. We spend all healthcare in the United Kingdom, 97% of it is underwritten by Her Majesty's government. You, the taxpayer. And yet the outcome is that the quality of the healthcare received in the United Kingdom ranks 18. The countries that really interest me, more than any, are France and Italy. In France, the state only underwrites 77% cost of any healthcare treatment, and every citizen, and I mean every citizen, has to contribute and bridge the funding gap. In Italy, where they have the second best ranking by quality in Europe, their state only spends 57.5%. So when you go to Italy and you go to hospital in Italy, and I spoke to a friend of mine that lives in Milan the other day, just to confirm this, but your treatment will be free, your surgery will be free, the doctor won't charge you anything, but you have to pay for your board and lodging. You have to pay for it. But they all do it, these countries, where the citizen pays a small monthly subscription to an insurance product. We've never had that in this country until now. Right. So I've looked at the European models. Before the war, and before the introduction of the state, healthcare was, as earlier shown in the film, provided by local hospitals, local charities, local provident associations, and people typically paid about 3% of their payroll to the local charity, and then they picked up all the tab. So really, all we're doing, it's new to Britain, but it's not new historically to Britain, and it's certainly not new in the European context, what we're doing. And the fundamental problem about being sick, particularly for the ordinary working people in this country, is when they get sick, they're not getting paid, and they're not earning any money, and they don't have any money, and they need cash. The NHS has always paid for your treatment, but I've never heard of a discharged nurse in an NHS ward saying, well, Mr. Patient, just send us your electricity bills, send us your grocery bills, and we'll pick up the tab. People get into real trouble when they get sick, they lose their houses, they get into debt, they go to Wonga, and it's a scandal. Go on. And the costs of being sick are way and above medical costs. It's driving to the hospital, it's NHS car parking charges, it's takeaway food, it's having to make that extra trip to the doctor, it's having to go and have that scan, it's having to go and have that radiotherapy every day for 6 weeks. And it impacts on the members of other families as well. So, the traditional private medical insurance products offering unlimited liability insurance. My claim could have been £435,000 and Bupa would have had to pay it, or even £700,000 and I'd had to pay it. So all of these PMI products that are still being sold today offer unlimited liability insurance. And of course, medicine in the 1970s is radically different to medicine as it is today. So my machine, for example, that's embedded in my chest, 10 years ago, they didn't exist. So medicine's improved, but medical insurance in the traditional sense most certainly has not. Claims costs in the PMI market are out of control, like a bushfire, and they're going to get much worse because medical advances are going to continue apace. I mean, I've just had a scan, and it was 2 hours or something, nuclear scan, and it was like 2,900 quid for a scan. PMI has become unaffordable to all but an elite, and the premiums are escalating at a compound rate of 12% and have done so for the last 7 or 8 years. Bupa happily told me when I phoned the day before yesterday that I've got to go and see this person, and they're not going to cover all the bills. There's going to be a shortfall. So, I'm used to this, having been in the PMI business, but if you were a one-off customer that had Bupa for 15 years, and it's the first time you had to claim, and you went to use it, and then the girl on the phone says, oh, by the way, we're not going to pay all your bill, you wouldn't be a very happy Bupa customer, having paid in 30,000 quid over X number of years. Move on. Only last month, the Competition Commission, in essence, what the problem has is because we've had this system, there is no genuine competition and market, so our medicine in the UK is in effect actually 40% more expensive than the European average. So the Competition Commission says the private hospitals are actually taking advantage, in essence, of the insurance community to the tune of £190 million a year. Well, that's the insurance community's premiums being very high because there is no competition. And so the question is, why is medicine 40% more expensive in Cambridge or Canterbury than it is in Calais, Cadiz, Cologne, whatever that other place is, in Copenhagen? So, the PMI market, we all know, or those brokers that are involved in the PI market know that it's not great. And that was one of the key drivers in me selling Perfect Health Insurance 53 weeks ago today in order to do this project. So I had a look at Bupa's accounts, and in their 2008 accounts they declared that they had 4 million customers. In their 2012 accounts, they announced that they had 2.69 million customers, and I believe they are now on their 3rd chief executive. Is that right? So where have all these people gone? Well, most of them, I would imagine, are fit and healthy people who've been dutifully paying their £100 a month to their family, to Bupa for X number of years, and they've never been sick. So they think, this is ridiculous, I've spent in this amount of money, and it's just not worth it, so I'm going to cancel it, because I've always got the glorious NHS. So my argument would be that the public perceive private medical insurance as an exclusive and elitist product, a bit like first class or business class in the aeroplane market. Only 5% of the population are now deemed to have private medical insurance. Ergo, my broker friends, there is a huge market out there for you now to go and market our products, and we need your help and support. So why do these PMI providers, basically, I was sitting in a meeting about 2 years ago with a person who will remain nameless, but he was the chief executive of one of the leading 5 private medical insurers, and he just made an acquisition. And it was a big acquisition, more than £100 million. And I thought to myself, these guys, they're all looking the wrong way. What about the 94%? They're all looking the wrong way. Well, we're not. Right, Alan? So our products are designed for the general population at large, and we'd like to consider ourselves to be what doesn't exist, but like the equivalent in the airline business. You know, EasyJet used never to exist, and it now flies millions of customers every year. And nobody else is doing what we're doing. Go on. So all of our products have a cap on benefits, so that produces lower premiums. We make it incredibly easy for people to join, so there are no complicated application forms. A fortune has been spent on building a back office platform for you to be able to conduct business, for the general public to be able to conduct business. I mean a fortune. I don't have any small print. It's clear, simple, common sense insurance. Move on. We will not let people down, because they will only call us when they need us because they are sick. So we have 5 different product options. The first and most important one is our sick pay plan. That gives 2 levels of cover now, either £1,500 a month for up to 6 months. That's a maximum benefit from an insurance point of view of £9,000, so we know that the maximum claim. Or £1,000 a month for 6 months, and the premiums for that, £21.68 buys you 9 grams worth of cover, 250 quid a year, pays out 37 times its annual cost if you ever have to use it, and the £1,000 a month is £15.60. We have an everyday medical expenses plan to cover NHS dentists, physio, GP prescriptions, that sort of thing. And then surgical cash, this is where I think we've really done something exceptional, because what happens now is when a private medical insurance claim begins, war breaks out. War breaks out between you, the customer, and the provider. The provider then goes to war with the hospital and the consultant and the anaesthetist and all the physiotherapists, and everybody ends up thinking, "Urgh." But what we do is, on the diagnosis, we cover 1,500 surgical procedures, and on the diagnosis of that procedure, we just say, there, Mr. Customer, is your fund. Do with it as you will, in essence. So, for example, a hip Band-Aid will pay out £10,000. Now, if that customer can buy that hip in Poland, which he would be able to do, for £3,500, we'll pay the hospital in Poland and we'll send the cheque to our customer. It's the first time ever that the customer, not the insurance company, and I think the insurance companies are all being ripped off, not only by the hospitals but also by the medical profession. And if the customer can buy it right, and who's going to buy it right? It's his money. It's not our money, it's his money. He's insured with us. He needs the treatment. If he wants to go and buy it, he can buy it wherever he likes. I don't care where he gets it done. So I'm really proud of that one. We've got a guaranteed acceptance life cover, and a new introduction is our critical 8 policy, which pays out on 8 critical illness conditions. Non-smoker, is it 20? Non-smoker, 18 to 50, £50,000 payout, £28 a month. That is unbelievably good value for money. Unbelievably good value for money. This is basically how it works. So everything is transacted online. Quotes are all done online. Broker logins are all done online. All policy fulfillment is done online. But our leading product to date, and we are selling hundreds of these each month now, our leading products, 67% of our sales to date are sick pay. It's unbelievably good value for money. And our marketplace, and the marketplace for the broking community that have been concentrating on the 5% of the population and not the 95% of the population, which must be their target market, these are the facts. 29.5 million people in the United Kingdom have work. And out of those, 4.2 million are self-employed, 4 million are working for businesses with less than 10 employees, and a further 6 million work for less than 25 employees. So that's a grand total of just under half of all working people in the United Kingdom work for businesses with less than 25 employees. However, our research shows that 3.1 million cats and dogs in the United Kingdom have a veterinary fees insurance policy. So if you're self-employed and have a dog, it's insane. And these guys that go out to work climbing ladders, they don't have anything, but the dog does. This is wrong. This is wrong. In Germany, if you go to a bank and you've just got your plumbing qualification, and you're very proud, and your mother's proud, and you go to Deutsche Bank and you say, oh, here's my plumbing certificate, here's my public liability insurance, I'd like to open a bank account. No. But if you're self-employed and you want to have a bank account in Germany, you have to make sure it is the law that you have a sick pay policy and that you won't become a burden to the state if you fall ill. Law. I think it's probably a law that we insure cats and dogs, but not humans. It's a culture. These guys will have cover in the UK. 700,000 horses, 400,000 rabbits and associated other animals such as parrots, gerbils, snakes and whatever. You have over 4 million people spending around £250 a year to buy £7,500 worth of benefit with a vet. And when you claim for your dog, you can never claim for that condition again. Rubbish. So we believe that everyone in the country has got the right to have the freedom of choice in matters relating to their health, no matter who they are, no matter where they come from, no matter what the budget is, we've got something to help. And as I know only too well, you can't predict when illness is going to happen, but you can make arrangements for things not to go tits up when it does. So the general public now has got a provider with products that are relevant, affordable, simple, easy to use and understand. And this is what some other people think. Things that people have been asking me, and we're nearly there now because we can go and have Pims and play with penguins now and have some fun. So why penguins? Well, penguins are extremely resilient animals for obvious reasons, and they stick together in large communities, and they help each other, and they rely on each other to overcome even the worst Arctic storms. They mate for life, and once a bond is made, they remain together and raise and protect their family year after year. And they're shining examples of unity through adversity. And it's impossible to look at a penguin and not smile. And you're going to go and see some now. What we're going to do is, for any journalists, we're not going to do a Q&A here. You can pick us up at the at Penguin Beach. We're going to go there for an hour and put the penguins to bed. 5 of you will get the opportunity to feed a penguin. Does anybody want to feed a penguin desperately? Oh, Christ! Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. We've now got a problem. We'll have to have a competition. So we'll think of one of those. A huge thank you. There's a lot of people been involved in this project, obviously. We're working with a really marvellous agency in Leeds called Intermarketing, and they've really done an incredible job to get our website up and running and ready today. When you go home, if you're not too pissed, you can probably have a look. The F2X group are the people that sit behind the really intelligent technology behind the platform to be able to issue policies and documentation, so thank you. Stormnet Media, we have a suite of animations not dissimilar to the general animation. I believe they've been loaded onto our YouTube channel. So all of those things are on our YouTube channel. A corporate video of this event will be on the YouTube channel next week. Nice Productions, thank you Gregory and all your guys for helping with everything that you've done. And a big thank you to Compass Underwriting. I went to see Compass after my first heart attack in 2010 thinking, well, I'm never going to find anybody in the city that's going to listen to me. Well, bugger me, it was the easiest meeting I've ever had in my life, and I couldn't believe it. And so everybody at Compass has been fantastic, and the insurers at UKG, and I'd like to thank my family, and my dad in particular, for helping me out through this project to get us through the line. And finally, I would like to thank somebody who has worked incredibly hard and has been very loyal. She's worked with me for 5 years, and she's done an incredible job to get us to where we are today. Where is it? So Ellen, I'd really like everybody, if you could please, put your hands together to Ellen to say thank you very much on behalf of the company for all that you've done. On y va! Let's go.